morning, everyone, and welcome to Lauren Reed Color. Thanks for joining me for today's Saturday Snippets. So if you can hear some pitter-pattering in the background, it is raining here. I hope it's not too distracting, but winter has come back with a vengeance. Anyway, in today's video, we're going to be continuing our page in Daydreams by Hannah Carlson. Let me just show you how far we've gotten. So this is our page. These are our palettes from Sarah Renee Clark's Color Cubes, and we're using Prismacolor pencils. So far, we've done the entire bottom of the page. We started working last week on the left-hand side, and today we're going to finish this coral. We're going to do this coral, which is going to be a purplish color. And then if we have time, I really hope that we will begin on the jellyfish. So I just want to show you the previous page with the jellyfish that I've done in this book, because this jellyfish will be something similar, not exactly the same, but similar. So this is the page that I've done previously. So I'm going to try to get on our own jellyfish. I'm going to try and get this glow that I have on this jellyfish. So we will see if we can achieve that, but it's not going to be the same colors. I'm thinking of trying to achieve something along the lines of this gradient with the yellow, greens, pinks, and oranges on the top and also on the tendrils of the jellyfish. So we're going to see what we can achieve, and whatever comes out, comes out. But before we do any of that, I'm going to show you what I've been doing this week. This has been a week of ups and downs in terms of my coloring. I've had moments of significant progress, but also quite a few lulls. As you know, I live in Israel, so I color in between sirens, and I've also gone back to work on Zoom, so quite a bit of my day is taken up with that as well. But nevertheless, I did manage to finish a page in Enchanted Earth by Melpomene Chatsipanigyatu, and the page that I completed is this butterfly with flowers page. That's what I called it, even though as I was coloring, I realized that it's actually not a butterfly covered in flowers, but rather it is forest scenes. So on this side, you have the sunset over the mountains with this bear, and on this side, you have the sky with the trees and the river. And so it's actually forest scenes, but nevertheless, I'm still calling it Butterfly with Flowers. This was a buddy color with Chrissy Wilcox. I absolutely love Chrissy's version. She has done something with her mountains that is just out of this world. Anyway, I will show you her completed page in my own completed pages video at the end of the month. And in the meantime, what I did with this page is I used polychromos. I didn't base with anything, and if I had to do it over again, I would probably base with a water medium, because the paper is kind of smooth, and I think the pencils would go down more smoothly on some sort of water base. And then for the background, I used my own do-it-yourself distress ink technique with watercolors and glycerin mixed together and then applied with an applicator. If you're interested, there is a video on the channel on how I do that. I really like the way it came out. I'm pretty pleased with my gradient background. Yeah, so that is the page that I finished this week, and now I will show you the multiple whips that I started. As I said earlier, I have had some moments of intense coloring as well as some lulls in my coloring, but I did manage to make quite a bit of progress on my 3 ongoing whips. The first one is in Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Lederhol Oberg. I have begun a group on Instagram where we are coloring this book together, and the page that we are doing for March is this rabbit with the teapot page. I'm just keeping a protective sheet here because this is Neo color for the base, and then it is Spectrum Noir color blend pencils on top of that, and it's given it sort of a really smooth waxy look, and I don't want any of that to transfer onto the other page, so I've got a page protecting it, and hopefully it will not damage the facing page. Anyway, so as I said, that's what I did with the background, and I also colored the teapot. I decided to go with a metal teapot. I might add some more black on this teapot just to get it to be a bit more shiny. but that will be a little bit later. And I've started doing the leaves. So I'm really pleased with my background. I'm actually quite surprised at how well it came out, because there was a moment where it was definitely going through its ugly duckling phase, but I like it right now. And I've got a palette that I am using from Joanna Stone's collection. If you're not familiar with Joanna Stone, she creates palettes, and she has a Gumroad site where she makes them available to us. Some of them are paid and others are free. The ones that are for Joe at Geordie Colors Color the Fairy Tales challenge for the year are free. She has created palettes for all of the fairy tales that Joe will be doing, and I will link her website in the description box so that you can take a look. Anyway, I digress. So this is the palette that I am using, and as you can see, I'm going to try and get different shades of peaches, yellows, and oranges for my flowers, which are complementary colors to this blue background. So yeah, that is my plan for this page in Fairy Tales and Folklore. The next page that I worked on is in Sagen by Maria Trolle. This is another buddy color. This time it's with Crystal from Casually Coloring. And the page that we are doing together is the Cottage in the Woods page. So basically, I started last week and I started putting down a layer of pencil and I didn't like it. So I erased everything and went over instead with watercolor pencil in the background, and then I'm leaving it for now because I think I like this smoky background that I've got. So I'm going to put in all of the other elements on the page, and then I will come back to the background and see what I can do to keep the smoky look that I've got. Anyway, so the trees are Prismacolor and the canopy is Polychroma. So I will be mixing different brands of pencil on this page. I also did to this facing page what I tried not to do on the Fairy Tales and Folklore page. I got a little bit of acrylic marker here. So when I get to this page, I will have to work around it, and I might even try doing an acrylic background to cover that up. But yeah, it's a really small spot. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, I'm enjoying this page very much, and that is the page in Sagen. The last page I worked on this week is in Lithographic Dragon Spell by Joseph Kattenbang. I am a member of a group on Instagram where we are coloring this book together. And the page that we are doing for March is this page. It is the page that I am calling the Dragon Garden Warrior. So I went onto Pinterest and I found some inspiration images for Venus flytraps, and I saw that they come in a whole variety of different colors, and one of the inspiration images was purples, pinks, and greens, so I decided to go with that color scheme. Right now it is based with a watercolor pencil in the background on the flowers and on the grass, and then I based the warrior with alcohol marker, and now I am shading her armor. I started out with a completely different combination for her undershirt. It was more of a reddish orange, and then I started putting in this pinkish golden rose gold armor, and it was clashing. It really looked bad. So I was thankfully able to erase all of the orangey reddish color that I had. That is the beauty of layering. When you layer, you are able to erase more easily. And then I went in with this purple blackish color instead, and I really like the end result. I think the colors work beautifully together, and I'm also going to take this blackish purple color and I'm going to put it in the inside of the Venus flytraps, and I'm going to make these dragons that color as well. And then I am going to do more greenish colors for the flytraps on the bottom. I like the way that it's progressing, and I still haven't decided what to do with her hair. I'm leaning towards blonde, but we will see. Right, so that is my page in Mythographic Dragon Spell, and now we're going to move over to our Sea Life page in Daydreams. Okay, so we are going to start by continuing to color in the coral that we began last time, and I've decided that I want to add a little bit of pink here at the top over this mahogany red color that we've got there. And I'm also going to put this pink when we do the other coral, which is going to be more of a purpley color, just to get sort of like a cohesive look between these two coral segments. So we're going to begin with that. Please excuse the snoring dog in the background. He had a hard night. We were up several times with sirens, so yeah, he's exhausted. So am I, to be honest. Yesterday was quite challenging. We were in and out of the shelter about 10 or 12 times, so yeah, very tiring. But yeah, what can you do? We just have to, get on with the process of living our lives and do our best. Anyway, so it was a good week overall. I enjoyed going back to work, even though it's on Zoom, and I don't really enjoy teaching on Zoom. But yeah, it's good to get back into a routine and to keep busy. So I enjoyed that. It's just the beginning of the semester, so it was mainly going over the syllabus and, explaining expectations to the students. They seem to also be quite happy to be keeping busy. And some of them are really excited to be back. I think I might zoom in a little bit just so that you can see what that actually looks like. Yeah, that's better. You can see more how the pink is merging in with the mahogany red. And I'm also going to put some of this over here and here just to, create a look that is cohesive. Yeah, so that's what I ended up doing on Wednesday. Wednesday was the a few lessons that were the first lesson of the semester. But yesterday, was it yesterday? I'm getting my days mixed up. Thursday was the second lesson in my Introduction to Poetry course. Last week we talked about Disney princesses. And this week we analyzed a poem by Kim Adonzino. She's an American poet, and the poem is called What Women Want. What do women want? And it's a beautiful poem. It's amazing. So basically, it's about this. The speaker in the poem is talking about a dress that she wants. She wants to buy a red dress, and it's all about what she's going to do when she has this dress. And basically, the red dress is a symbol for. I'm going in with sand, okay, just to create the merge between the top pink part and the bottom orangey, peachy part. So she describes what she wants to do when she has this dress, and the dress is a symbol for independence and freedom and her desire for personal acceptance. So yeah, my students enjoyed it. It's a fun poem. So that's what we did in the Introduction to Poetry course. We talked about, this is a second year group. No, I'm getting confused. This is not my second year group, Introduction to Poetry. This is my 20th century literature group. Sorry, it's the 20th century literature group where we did What Women Want. And they're a second year group, and they have already taken Introduction to Poetry as first year students. Let me just move this up a bit. So I'm just blending all of the colors that we did last week with the sand. They've already taken Introduction to Poetry, and so they were able to analyze, the rhyme scheme. There isn't a rhyme scheme. This poem is blank verse. It has no rhyme scheme. And we talked about why that is, and one of my students said it's because if you have a rhyme scheme, it's structured, it has rules, and the speaker in the poem doesn't want rules. She wants to break away from the rules, so that's why there's no rhyme scheme in the poem. So, and then we talked about all the different poetic devices that are in the poem. So it has anaphora. Anaphora is when you have a repeated word or phrase at the beginning of consecutive lines. So this poem starts with I want, I want, I want. And that's anaphora, emphasizing her desires for this red dress, which symbolizes her desire for independence. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this not black grape. I don't want black grape. I want black cherry. 1 second. Cherry. I sometimes get mixed up between the black grape and the black cherry. The black cherry has more of a reddish tint to it, and the black grape has more of a purplish tint. And because we've got these reddish colors, I think black cherry would work better for my shadow color. So let me just move up. We're going to put this in all of the shadow areas. So where was I? What women want, anaphora. And what else did it have? We talked about the symbolism of the red dress. There's also a line in the poem about how she walks past a hardware store and there are keys glittering in the window. So we talked about the symbolism of keys, that they unlock. They unlock opportunities. They unlock desires, but they also lock as well. So there's the juxtaposition of this symbol, that it is, breaking out of locked places, wanting to unlock opportunities, and so on. So we discussed that. What else did we discuss with that poem? So at the end of the poem, she talks about how when she gets this dress, I have been off camera. I've just been blending out here and adding shadows on the bottoms of these corals. So that, the sun is coming from the top, and so it's hitting the top of these corals. So the shadow is on the bottom. Okay, yeah, so she's basically saying that when she gets this dress, she'll put it on and it will be like her bones and her skin, all, imagery associated with the human body. It's like it will make her feel like a human being. It's such a great poem, really beautiful poem. And of course, it's I want, and when I get it. So the idea here is that she doesn't have it yet. And it's related to the desire of the feminist movement, yes, to get equality for women. And it's not something that's been achieved yet. So it's all when I get it, I want to have it, but not yet there. And the poem was written in the 1970s, and one of my students mentioned that it's so interesting that it's still relevant. She enjoyed it very much. They did. The students were telling me that they really enjoyed analyzing that poem. Yeah, so that was in my 20th century literature course. In my introduction to poetry course, now I'm getting it right. We're still learning the basics. So we're still learning different poetic devices. So we talked about the sound devices in poems. Sorry for the interruption. Where was I? Yes, poetic devices. So, so we were talking about rhyme scheme and how to determine the rhyme scheme in a poem. So basically the rule is that every line gets a letter. If there are lines that have a rhyme at the end, like moon, spoon, spew, chew, and then
they get the same letter, okay? And then you get the rhyme scheme with the lines that have the same rhyme in it. So it could be that the first two lines rhyme. If the first two lines rhyme, then it's called a rhyming couplet. Or it could be that the first and the third line rhyme. Okay, and as we give them letters, so it could be A, A, B, B if it's rhyming couplets, or it could be A, B, A, B. And for example, sonnets have very distinct rhyme schemes. A sonnet is a love poem. You might be familiar with Shakespeare's sonnets. So they have very distinctive rhyme schemes. Yeah, so we discussed that, and then we talked about alliteration. Alliteration is when the first sound at the beginning of words is, okay, I'm not saying this correctly. It is when the initial sounds at the beginning of words are the same in the same line. Okay, so for example, in Edgar Allan Poe's, can't remember which poem it is, but it's While I Was Weak and Weary. So WWW, but it doesn't have to be the same letter. It can just be the same sound. So for example, in the phrase kit and caboodle. So kit is with a K, caboodle is with a C, but you still get that harsh K sound at the beginning of each word, and so that's alliteration. So we talked about that. And then we talked about anaphora. I defined it in that course. All right, I want to take some cream. Okay, and just here at the top of the coral, I want to blend out these colors so that we get the glow of the sun. Yeah, so I defined anaphora for them, and we did that. And then what else did we do? Oh yes, onomatopoeia. So onomatopoeia are words that sound like their meaning. So for example, words like clap or clang or crash or tick or clock. Yeah, these are words that sound like their meanings. So yeah, so we talked all about the different sound devices in these poems. And then I do a fun activity. So I usually, we're on Zoom, as I said earlier, and this is an activity I usually do in class. I like to show my students how all of these devices also appear in song lyrics. Okay, so let's just before I continue with that, let me just zoom out and see what this looks like. Yeah, I really like the way it looks. I like how we've gotten a gradient from the pinks into the peach into the reddish colors, and we've got the cohesive blending color of the sand and the cream, and also the shadow color of the black cherry, so it looks really cohesive. And now we're going to do something very similar with this coral over here, and I am going to start by putting down a base of lavender. Right. So yeah, this goes very lightly over everything. Yeah, so where was I? We were talking about, oh yes, poetic devices in song lyrics. So basically, song lyrics, yes, is poetry. It's just poetry songs are poems set to music. And I like to show my students how their favorite songs have all of these poetic devices, metaphors and similes and idioms and anaphora and personification, and all the other poetic devices that we learn can be found in their favorite songs. So I play snippets of these songs, and then I ask them what poetic device is in the snippet that they just listened to. I also put it on the screen, like the lyrics are put on the screen so they can listen and read at the same time. And yeah, when I do this at the college itself, so there's a lot of singing and dancing, and they have a really good time. And I was actually quite pleased because even on Zoom, there was some singing. And so they had a good time, and I like how they understood, and they got it, right. They were able to identify the poetic devices in these songs, and then some of them said, "Okay, we're going home now." Well, they're already at home, but we're going to go and listen to other songs and see what we can find. Yeah, I gave them a little task to do. Where they should do that, but even before I gave them the task, they said they were going to do that. They're cute. So that was my work week. Next week is a little bit busier because I will also be teaching on at the beginning of the week, not only Wednesday and Thursday, but Sunday as well. Our work week in Israel begins on a Sunday. So that's why I do my Saturday snippets on a Saturday, because I'm working on Sunday. Okay, so there we go. We have our base layer down. Oh, I think that is going to look really good next to this blue, the orangey peachy colors, and the pink that we've got. Yeah, so I like that. Now we're going to go in with the violet, but I see I need to sharpen it. One moment. Okay, so violet, sharp, and it started raining again. So you might be able to hear the pitter-pattering. I just filled in this little bit at the bottom. Okay, so this is our shadow color. Let me make sure I'm on camera. Okay, so we're putting this where these seagrass cast a shadow onto the coral. Okay. Yeah, so that was my work week. What else did I do this week? I watched the Oscars. I don't know if anyone watched them. I don't always watch the Oscars. There have been years where I haven't watched. But this year I'm at home, so I could watch. And I watched the replay. I didn't watch it live. It's in the middle of the night, and my sleep is disrupted enough anyway. So I didn't watch it live. It was. I think this is the first year in quite a while that there aren't any controversies. There's no mishaps. I remember the year where they announced the wrong Best Picture winner. that was hysterically funny. Oops, we've made a mistake. This movie didn't actually win. It was this movie. Oh, wow. The people who got the Oscar taken away from them must have been absolutely furious. There they were thinking that they'd won an Oscar, and no, it was another movie. I think the movie that won in the end was La La Land, which I have seen, and I'm not a fan. I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. So, I wasn't. And I didn't even think it was that good of a musical either. I think they're better musicals. So I can't remember what the other film was. But perhaps it should have won the Oscar, not La La Land. After all. But so anyway, there wasn't any significant mishaps with issues like that. Although there was a tie. Best documentary short, I think. There was a tie, which I think is cool. And so there were some really great moments. I don't find Conan O'Brien that funny. I think there are funnier comedians. So quite a few of his jokes sort of fell flat. But there were some other really great moments with other presenters. I loved the little skit with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and Channing Tatum. That was so funny. I'm not going to tell you. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sure there are clips on YouTube, and you can go and watch just the funny bits. That was really fun. And that was good. And another clip that I really enjoyed, another presenter, was Sigourney Weaver. She's hysterically funny. She was great. I loved her bits. I liked Anne Hathaway and Anna Wintour's section. That was really cool as well. What else did I like? I'm just telling you the ones that I recommend you go and watch if you can. what other ones? Oh, I can't remember the name of the presenter, but the presenter who presented the documentary short where there was a tie. So he goes like, okay, everybody stay calm. There's a tie. Nobody panic. So that was cute. Yeah, and the in memoriam part was so sad, so sad. There've been some really tragic losses, and Barbra Streisand singing for Robert Redford was just so beautiful. Yeah, but sad. Yeah, so that was really emotional. Yeah, so yeah, I watched the Oscars, and I was watching it while I was coloring. So that was nice. That was Monday. I did that on Monday because the Oscars were Sunday night. All right, I don't want to put too much of this color here because the light is hitting it. So as you can see, I've created, with the shadow color, I've created areas where the light is hitting. Okay. What else did I do and see this week? I'm still watching People Magazine Investigates. And scaring myself silly. There's some really, really scary cases. But I'm really enjoying it. I think they do a really good job with their research. And since I'm watching episodes that were several years ago, like I'm watching from the beginning, and there are episodes from several years ago. Some of these cases that are in the show unsolved, I go and I look them up to see if since the broadcast they have been, solved, and some of them have. So that's really interesting to see. Okay, we're going to move on to what color am I going to do next? I want to put in, am I going to put in the black grape? Or am I going to put in the pink? Let's put in the pink. Okay, let's put in the pink so that we get the cohesive look between the corals at the top and the bottom. So I'm not putting this all over the place. I'm just going to put it in like random areas. Right, so just, some random areas. Not into the shadows, just a little bit into the highlights. Okay. Yeah, so as I said, I was watching People Magazine Investigates, and then I saw on Threads that the verdict in the Corey Richens case has been given, and she was found guilty of poisoning her husband. And that's so interesting because before I was watching other things, I was watching Dateline, and this case, and it was an older Dateline, like it was from a few years ago, and this case was featured on Dateline, and it said that she'd been arrested, but that was like a few years ago. So now she's actually been put on trial and convicted, and so that was interesting to see the real life update of an episode that I'd seen. Okay, now we are going to take the, this time it's the black grape because it's the purplish color, and we're going to put it in the deeper shadows. Okay, so I just filled in that little spot there. Okay, so yeah, that was really interesting. That was, wow, I can't believe that she killed him, and then she wrote a book about grief for her children. That's just diabolical. Wow. I don't know, people do such terrible things to each other. I was watching another episode of People Magazine Investigates, and it was about another woman who killed her husband. These shows just prove that you shouldn't get married. So, the husbands kill the wives kill the husbands. I know that, that's not the case. The majority of people are very good, and most people have really lovely relationships. But, when you watch crime shows, you get all the terrible, the terrible ones. Anyway, I digress. So, I keep going on tangents that are off topic. I do it with my students as well, but they don't seem to mind. Anyway, so so I was watching this episode also where a husband, this one was a wife who killed her husband. She, she phones 911. She says that there are intruders and they've shot her husband, and she was shot in the arm. And then it turned out that the killer was her boyfriend, and she organized the whole thing. She was quite. I actually felt sorry for the boyfriend. She so manipulated him. She was quite manipulative. I watched that. What else? I watched the Oscars. Yeah, I watched that. Oh, another skit on the Oscars that I enjoyed was Bill Pullman. He is so adorable. Bill Pullman came with his son Louis, who is also an actor, which I didn't know, and they were so cute and funny together. And Jimmy Kimmel was great too. I liked him as well. I wonder why Jimmy Kimmel doesn't do the Oscars. Shame, poor Conan. I'm maligning him, but I just don't find him that funny. All right, I think what we're going to do now is take the white and we're going to blend with white, okay? I'm also not going to go into the shadow areas because I want to keep my deepest shadows and just put in the highlight. And we're also going to put some yellow on top of this white to simulate sunshine. Okay, but first we have to blend out with the white. So what else did I watch? That's more or less what I've been watching. I did see some cute things on Threads. So for those who are interested, there's an update on the podium pups. They're so cute. They're getting so big. So she likes to do enrichment activities with them so that they get used to all sorts of things before they get adopted. So she put some, and by she I mean Carter. The name of the channel is Camp Carter. She put into the puppy pen, she put in some brown paper so that they could get used to the texture and the crinkling sound of the paper. And she said at first they were afraid. Oh, this is a strange, scary noise. But they got used to it really quickly and ended up loving it. All right, now I want to put in some cream for sunshine. Okay, so cream, and we're just going to put this into these areas to make it look like the sun is shining on the tops of these areas. I'm not sure you can see it so much on the camera. It's more visible on the page itself with the naked eye. And I will definitely be deepening up some of that pink. I might even put in some peach. Yes, I think we'll put in some peach. Sometimes you choose colors and then you see that you're not getting the exact effect that you want. You can always add a color. And I think if I want to really make it look like the sun is shining on this coral, I need to add some peach. So let's get peach. In the end, I've actually decided to go with salmon pink because it is more of a yellowy color than the peach. And I think it would look better for simulating sunshine. So let's just put this in over here. Yeah, that was a good choice. Yeah, so where was, oh yes, the podium pups. So they were exposed to brown paper and the crinkliness of that. And she also gave them a soccer ball. They're so cute running after the soccer ball. They're just the most adorable little things. Yeah, so that was an update on the podium pups. And okay, yeah, so I think that looks good. So I think what I am going to do now is just go in a little bit more with the violet, okay, to deepen up shadows and bring back some of this color into the highlight. get a nice gradient going. Yeah, what else did I see on Threads? I also saw someone posted about a zebra that has been born in the Kruger National Park in South Africa, where I used to go on holiday when I was little. My family used to go to the Kruger National Park when I was younger, and we lived in South Africa. That was fun. I loved those holidays. My grandmother loved giraffes, so whenever we saw a giraffe, she used to get giddy like a schoolgirl. Anyway, so there's this giraffe that's been born, and it has significant black patches. And it was really interesting because they were talking about how actually zebras are black with white stripes. They're not white with black stripes, which is what I always thought. I always thought they were white and had black stripes, but nope, they're black with white stripes, and the stripes are for camouflage. So that was interesting. What else did I see on Threads? Panchi, the little monkey, is thriving. He's doing well with his troop in the zoo in Japan. And I understand that the zoo has started a donation fund so that people can donate, and they will use the funds to, for upkeep and maintaining the monkey, the Japanese macaque monkey enclosure, which I think is very cool. What else did I see? I saw raccoons. So someone else posted pictures of they foster baby raccoons whose mothers have died. Oh, so sad. And they were talking about how when baby raccoons are scared, they cover their eyes as if to say, I can't see you, so you can't see me, sort of thing. Children do that as well. Okay, I'm just going to get the indigo blue from the Polychromos to deepen up shadows on this coral. Okay, yeah, so my tiny dark indigo, it's I have a replacement one. When I see that my pencils are starting to get really small, I buy replacement. That's what I like about open stock, because there are some pencils that are not open stock, like Castle Arts. My pencils are finishing, and I can't replace them because they're not open stock. And so, those ones are not going to get replaced. I will just move on to another brand. I was going to buy a new set to replace them, but I have so many pencils, and I think I would just, prefer to use the ones I already have. If you're interested in seeing, I have a couple of videos where I have compared Polychromos to Prismacolors, and I've compared Derwent Colorsoft to Derwent Pro Color, and then I sort of got sidetracked by other things, and I stopped that series of videos. If you're interested in seeing a video of all of my pencil collection, because I've seen a few of those and I like watching them. So if that's something that you enjoy, leave me a comment in the comment section, and I will try and make a video. If enough people say they want to see it, I will make a video about my pencils. I'll talk about them, the kind of paper that I use each one on, what I like about each one, and so on. So yeah, let me know if that's something you're interested in, and I will add it to my list of videos to film. Yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yes, I was talking about Threads and the interesting animal videos. I see lots of animal videos on Threads. So I also saw a video of a cat that plays I hope it was an AI, but I don't think it was. A cat that plays the piano, and when it plays the piano, it's a food dispenser, so it bangs on the piano and plays the piano, and food gets dispensed to it. That's so cute, just adorable. Animals are so clever, because the cat has learned that if it plays on the piano, then it will get food. Yeah, all right. I like that. I think that's come out really great. Okay, let us zoom out, look at everything we've got so far, and then I think we are going to finally start on our jellyfish.
So this is what it's looking like right now. I'm really pleased with the way that it is evolving. I think we have a really cohesive page with the color scheme that we're working with. And now we're going to move on to coloring the jellyfish. We're going to start with I think it's called a canopy. It might not be called a canopy, but whatever, it's the body of the jellyfish. And then we're going to move on to the tendrils or the tentacles. Again, I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but that will probably be in another video. Anyway, we have two options for coloring the jellyfish, either the gradient from purple into yellow or the gradient from dark indigo into yellow. And these two color schemes are based on the card from Sarah Renee Clark's Color Cubes. I at first thought that I would try to actually get this gradient from teal into the purple, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm debating between this one and this one. And as I was debating, my assistant came down the hall, and she said that based on what we already have on the page, she thinks it would be better to go with the purple into the yellow gradient because it would shine more and it would look better on the page because we've already got a really dominant teal color on the page already. So that is what we're going to do. That is her decision, and we're going to go with it. Nevertheless, I'm going to give you the color combination for this as well, in case you want to do this one instead.
It's a credit, not blame, so, you know.
Okay. She had to come down and
defend myself here.
and clarify. Yes, okay. Yeah, okay, she gets the credit, not the blame. Anyway, so if you do want to do... Be quiet. If you do want to do this gradient instead of this gradient, then the colors are cream. So cream on the bottom, okay? Then it is light green. It is peacock green, cobalt turquoise, and dark indigo in the polychromos or indigo blue in the Prismacolor, whichever one you have. And so you just do the gradient in the exact same way that I'm going to do the gradient for the purple to the yellow, okay? Exactly the same, just using these colors instead. So you can choose whichever combination you prefer. Okay, so I am now going to move on to getting started with that. To start with, the first thing we need to do is establish where our highlight is going to be. So the sun is coming from this direction, and I'm going to put our highlight in this section of this portion of the jellyfish, and it's going to be in a similar place all across the jellyfish, okay? So we're going to start with this, and therefore I'm starting with my lightest color, which is cream, and I'm just putting this down over here and making sure not to color this section so that we get a highlight, okay? All right, the first thing I like to do when I'm going to be doing a gradient is map out the colors lightly, all right? Our next color is salmon pink, all right? And I go a little bit into where I've already colored on top of the cream, all right? And then a little bit further up, all right? To get a nice seamless blend of colors, you always have to overlap them, okay? All right, then we have our pink, okay? Again, a little bit into the salmon and then up. All right, and down a bit. You can even put it a little bit down there. All right. Yes, you map out the colors first, very lightly before adding any pressure. Mahogany red. Okay. And finally, black grape.
Okay, and now basically what we're going to do exactly the same, but just layering and blending the colors together to get a smooth gradient. Before then, I just want to take my mono eraser, which has a really, really small eraser tip, and I'm just going to erase a little bit here on the edge because I want to have a gap in between these sections of the jellyfish, okay? Because we are going to be putting in some white acrylic pen, and if we have that gap, it'll make it glow even more. All right, so this is a perfect eraser for that. Okay, before we start blending the colors again, I'm going to take the white and I'm going to put it over my highlight. This will maintain the highlight, okay? So just keep that in mind when you're coloring, that you are going to have a highlight there, but by putting in the white, we will maintain it. And now I'm going back in with the cream, and I'm just going to start, blending the colors that I've mapped out together. Okay. All right, and as you can see, we're going to get a glow. Salmon pink. Right. I can't remember what I was talking about before we decided to start the jellyfish. Again, I want to make sure that I'm keeping white there. Let's actually, again, take the white and just put a line down the side here. That way I will maintain my highlight there as well. Okay. Oh yeah, I was talking about animal videos on Threads. So there was the raccoons who cover their eyes. There was the cat that plays the piano to get treats. There was the zebra with a black section without stripes. What else did I see? Oh, I think it was a seal. It could have been an otter. It was either an otter or a seal that has a rubber ducky. He's so cute. He has a rubber ducky and he plays with it. He has more than one rubber ducky. So, that was just so adorable.
Backpack kitties.
Oh, right. The assistant, she also watches animal videos on Threads. She said, I must tell you about the backpack kitties. So there's a video of she's on a motorcycle, the lady, and she has one of those see-through backpacks that you can put your pet inside so that they can see out. And there are two cats in this transparent backpack, and they're fighting, and the car behind the video is filmed from the perspective of the driver behind, and he's filming them, and eventually they realize they're being filmed. So they stop and they give him such a dirty look, these two cats, and one of them even growls. Animals are the absolute best. Best. Oh, yes, and they had hats on. Yeah, so what else? What other animal videos? So there was the otter or seal, I can't remember, with the rubber duckies. There was the cat playing the piano. There was one other that I thought was just so cute. Yeah, just putting this pink down a bit more there and more there. Anyway, it escapes me what the other one was. But yeah, I love animal videos. There are lots of dog ones as well. Oh yes, there was the dog, a Jack Russell. So of course I loved it because Toby's a Jack Russell. So this guy has a Jack Russell and it loves the water. I must say Toby's not a fan of water, which is weird because Jack Russells are hunting dogs, and they're usually they're trained to hunt, go hunting, and to get the birds that are shot, and then they collect them out of all sorts of water places, out of lakes and rivers and whatnot, streams. So you would think that Toby would like water, but he doesn't. He hates water. Whenever he has to have a bath, he behaves as if I'm murdering him. All right, I am going to get that indigo blue and just put it at the top part. Okay, there we go. The darkest part there. Okay, I'm actually thinking we might need a blender pencil to blend this really smoothly. Do we? Or should I just blend with the pencils? I don't really like using a blender, but sometimes to get a really smooth gradient, you need it. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to get a blender pencil and we're going to blend this part. We're not going to blend this part with the blender because I think it's blended sufficiently. I am going to get the blender pencil and blend this part, and I'm not going to use white because I want the gradient to be dark. If I blend with white, it's going to lighten up all these colors, and I don't actually want that. So we're going to blend with the blender. Let me get my blender. Right, so that is my tiny Prismacolor blender pencil. As you can see, I use everything until it's an unusable nub. This one still has some life in it. So we are going to blend just this part, okay? From the pink into the mahogany red. Yes, and into the purple. Okay. Right, that's enough, and I am just going to go back in with the mahogany red, just to put a little bit of that back in, and then with the black grape, and then with the indigo blue. Okay, so yeah, oh, I think that's really nice. I think we've got a nice blend there. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next one, and the highlight is going to be in this area over here. So just with the yellow, I'm going to map that out a little bit. All right, and again, I don't want to put there. Okay. Right, map that out, and now we're going to go in with the salmon pink. Just, you know, map out the colors, blend them together. Yeah, so I saw that. Oh, so anyway, the Jack Russell in this video loves water. And he let the guy who has this Jack Russell let him off the lead, and he was having such a great time jumping in and out of the water. So cute. So I saw that one. What else did I see? I'm actually thinking I've gone too much into my highlight. Let me get an eraser. And again, if you map out the colors, if you use light pressure, you can always erase. See? All right. Put my cream back in. Oh. I don't want that to be there. Okay, and now the pink. Avoid the highlight. Sometimes I forget. Yeah, so he was jumping up and down in the water. Cute little guy. What else did I see? All right, wait. I need to pay attention. Because I'm not paying attention, I am going into my highlight area, which I want to avoid. Okay. Oh, I think this is coming out nice. Okay. Right, and the black grape. Okay. Yeah, so animal videos are the best. What else did I see? Oh, so let's go back to books for a second. Did I talk about books today? I might have neglected to tell you about the books that I was reading. So I finished the book that I was reading, and I've started another one. I'm reading, it's called The Bones She Buried, and it is book number 5 in the Josie Quinn series. I've talked about this series before on the channel. I really enjoy it. And so I'm reading that. But before then, I was reading a historical fiction book. Historical fiction? It might have been historical nonfiction. It's called In the Heart of the Sea. I think it's a fictionalized version of a true event. So it's basically about Herman Melville's process of writing Moby Dick. And it's actually, I didn't know this, Moby Dick is actually based on a true story. So there was a whaling ship called the Essex that was sunk by a white sperm whale in the 1800s. And Moby Dick is a fictionalized version of that story. So this book is about that story. And all I can say is while I was reading it, I was rooting for the whale. I am team whale all throughout. In my opinion, if you want to go around harpooning whales, you deserve whatever you get. So, yeah, I was not that impressed or sympathetic with the sailors on this ship. Anyway, the whale sunk the ship. Serves them right. I know I have a mean streak when it comes to these things, I guess. I don't sympathize with the human beings who mess with animals. So basically, as you can see, I am just blending these colors together until I get the gradient that I want. I think it needs a bit more of this salmon pink here. Yes. And you just, you blend. You play with the colors, you get the colors that you want. And another thing that I want to point out is you don't have to have an exact identical gradient on all of the sections. In fact, nature is not uniform. Nature is random, nature is haphazard, and so in nature you're never going to get a complete exact gradient throughout. And if you do that, it's going to look weird, okay? It's going to look as if you have something like this. Let me show you. Something like this all across. And then it's not going to look realistic, and it's not going to look good. All right? So you don't want to have the gradient be so regimented or structured. You want it to be random, okay? So don't worry if you don't have an exact gradient across the whole thing. You don't want one. All right? So keep this in mind as well. Let me go back to my black grape. All right, we're just going to finish this section, and I think that will be it for today. We will carry on with the rest of the jellyfish next week, and then there might be 1 or 2 more videos where we do the background. All right, wait, I want to put in this indigo blue as well. In the deepest shadow here at the top. Right, more black. Yeah, you can see I'm just layering and layering and layering until I get the desired result. Also keep in mind that these are Prismacolor pencils, and Prismacolor pencils are waxy. So with all of this layering, I might get a phenomenon that is called wax bloom, which basically means it is a sort of like a creamy white film on top of the paper. Now, first of all, this is not a problem. This is not something bad. You're not damaging the pencils. You're not damaging the paper. It is a natural phenomenon, and sometimes it looks really nice. I know that sometimes I like to keep the wax bloom on the page, and other times I like to wipe it off. It can be wiped off either with some tissue paper or a wet wipe. If you use a wet wipe, make sure the wet wipe is mainly dry, just a tiny bit wet, okay? Because you don't want it to be wetting the paper and tearing the paper, okay? But it can be, as I said, it can be wiped off, and so keep this in mind as well. All right, I think I've got enough layers down now to blend with my blender pencil. All right, so I'm just going to go with my blender pencil, light into dark, okay? And you can also clean it off. All right, as you can see, the blender pencil takes some of the pigment away, so you will want to put it back in. Okay, and always make sure you have enough layers to blend. If you don't have enough layers, it's going to get scratchy, and it's not going to look good. All right, now let's go back in with the black grape. Put in that again. Okay, and also the mahogany red. And pink. All right. And also the indigo blue here at the top. Okay, do I also want to put white? Let's put white over our highlight. See, some of the white went over there, so I can blend it out with more pencils. And with the cream. Okay, oh, I like that. That is really getting a nice glow. Another thing to keep in mind, say you do go into your highlight more than you want. If you have layered, you can always erase. All right, so for example, here I see I want to erase that a bit. And if you have layered, then it is easy to do that, okay? Okay, so yeah, let's zoom out and see what the entire picture looks like with these two sections colored. Okay, oh, that looks really, really good. I'm very pleased with that. And we will continue coloring the jellyfish. Next week, we will do these other sections, the tendrils, and yeah, we might even start the background. All right, so thank you so much for joining me for today's Saturday Snippets. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you will join me again next week. Have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.